Oh, okay. Let's try this once again. Okay, hey everybody, this is Mr. Miserable. Happy Sunday to everybody out there. Hope everybody's enjoying themselves. This is one of my few days off. I'm typically off every Sunday, so I was decided, hey, why not drop a video today? So it is the first Sunday in March. What's going on? I don't know. Like I came across a video or article they were talking about how woke Hollywood suffers yet another terrible box office weekend, and I'm pretty sure they're referring to the whole thing with Madam Web, and I think they used it as an article to kind of attack the superhero movies and what they consider the woke superhero movies and things of that nature. Uh, I feel like that's a lame stab at the fact that just people targeting kind of lesser known characters. You know, it's like not everybody is going to go see a Madam Web. Not everybody's going to go see a Morbius. Not everybody's going to go see, they're just lesser characters. Not everybody's going to go see Ant Man, no matter how much money they put into it. It's like, who the fuck wants to see Ant Man? Because who the fuck know who Ant Man is? And I'm not saying that to disparage Paul Rudd. It's not a knock on Paul Rudd whatsoever. I'm just saying, typically when a comic book character movie comes out, you're always going to get the hardcore fans coming out to see him first. And if the movie's any good, those hardcore characters are going to come back for a second go around, maybe even the third go around. Like me personally, every time a Batman movie come out, and if that Batman movie is good, you guarantee I'm going to see it at least two times. That being said, when you got lesser characters coming out or characters don't nobody know who they are, it's like if you're not a hardcore fan, it's like who's gonna go see them? A perfect example was Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle wasn't a bad movie, but I think Blue Beetle kind of I don't want to say it threw what was going on in some of those countries in white people's faces. It's like sometimes when you're doing the story, you have to have a sense of who your character audience is. And I even have said this about Black Panther. When Black Panther came out, even though it basically was doing similar things, talking about like colonization and things of those natures, at the end of the day, Killmonger was the main bad guy. So it was like even though they threw jabs at European colonization and things of that nature, Michael B. Jordan was the main bad guy. Whereas in Blue Beetle, they were throwing the jabs at colonization and gentrification, but they had the main bad guy on top of that be Susan Sarandon. So it was kind of like you was throwing it in their face like 100%, and it was kind of like I think that was part of the backfire with Blue Beetle because I think sometimes people don't really want to see themselves being portrayed as the quote unquote bad guy, and I think sometimes when these writers write, they're not looking at that when they do their writing because you also got to remember the majority of people that are going to go see comic book movies, especially your more diehard comic book fans, are probably going to be white males. So it's kind of like I think one of the problems is not even I don't think it's a woke thing. I think it's more of a writing situation. Whereas you have to know your audience. You always have to know your audience. You always have to know who you're talking to, who you're expressing your ideas with. And I think that's one of the bigger things. And not even that. I think when the pandemic came out, of course, couldn't nobody really go out. A lot of people were stuck inside. And they started to realize, like, how many Americans got, 60, 65-inch TVs, great sound systems. So I'm spending all this money to go to the movies when I can just wait. Maybe, and nowadays you're not even waiting that long. Like when I was growing up, you sometimes had to wait 6 months to see a movie that you really wanted to see. Like when I was a kid, back in the days of the Holy Grail days when VHS and stuff like that, you almost had to wait half a year just to catch a movie that you really wanted to see. You had to wait for your parent to go to the Earls or wherever to go get the tape for you so you could come back and see it and stuff like that. And you was waiting almost sometimes you would forget the movie even came out. You was waiting so long. So it's like, but you don't have to go through that now. Now what? if the movie don't do that well, you might be able to wait a month, 2 months. Next thing you know, you can just stream it. So it's like they're blaming, telling me, oh well, it's woke Hollywood. That's what's killing the box office. And I think maybe 10% is bad writing. A lot of it's also you're focusing, especially with the whole. I think they banked so much on these comic book characters, but now with all the main guys out the way, it's like now who you gonna rely on? Like, and I hate to keep throwing shade on Blue Beetle, but when Blue Beetle first came out, somebody had did a joke on like what Warner Brothers must have been thinking when they pitched the idea of Blue Beetle, and the guy was like, well, he was like, yeah, we got this great idea for Blue Beetle. And the guy from Warner Brothers was like, well, who the fuck is that? And he's like, well, don't nobody know, but we're going to sell it anyway. And I think sometimes that's kind of how it comes off when you're hearing about these lesser characters. We know everybody's going to go see a Superman. Everybody's going to go see a Batman. They're going to go see a Spider-Man. I mean, to be honest, like, the fact that Marvel made the money they made off of characters like Captain America and Iron Man is a surprise to me. Because those characters honestly suck. And when looking back at their movies, to be honest, the movies wasn't really that good. That's why when people was kind of throwing shade on the Marvels, I was like, do y'all the first couple of Iron Mans? Do y'all remember the first couple of Captain Americans? Do y'all remember Thor 1 and Thor 2? Those movies were not good. They were not good. People was just waiting for the ensemble cast to get together so we could have the Avengers. And then remember, they fucked up with Avengers 2. Avengers 1 was pretty cool. Avengers 2 sucked. Then they hit us with the Endgame and Infinity War and all that type of stuff. I mean, that being said, though, like, I think they just throw too much shade on this whole wokeism stuff. And I think for some people, it may be a turn off just from the standpoint you get tired of hearing about it. And the first thing they hear is, oh, well, this movie woke, I ain't gonna go see it. But I also think it's just people just have a lot more options now. They got all these streaming services. And to me, I always live by this ideology that everything is connected. And I say that from the standpoint about a year or two ago, I had, not even a year or two, probably like a couple of months ago, I had made the comment that physical media is going to make a comeback. And think about it. 2 weeks ago, they just announced what they called it DVD's cousin. DVD's cousin is supposed to be these new DVDs that they have coming out. This can hold like massive amount of information. They're talking about like seasons and seasons of shows and episodes that you can just get on like one DVD. I'm thinking it's about time. I'm thinking people like me, people who work a lot, people who don't want to pay all these money for all these streaming services, it's going to be great for people like that. And I just say that from the standpoint. Now, I'm not going to lie because I pay for Amazon Prime, I pay for Netflix, I pay for Hulu, I pay for Crunchyroll. I think that's it. But that's about 4 or 5 streaming services I pay for. And to be honest, I work about 50, 60 hours a week. So a lot of times I'm not even watching them. Like to be honest, like I'll throw something on, but I typically just fall asleep on it. And it's like I'm paying for it because like, you know, my best friend, she watches things and whatever like that. But it's like so I'm paying for stuff I'm not using because it's one episode, one show on this platform, one show on this platform, and it's like I feel like y'all killing the game because let's be honest, when Netflix first came out, Netflix was considered a laughing stock when it first came out. Let's be honest. When Netflix first came out, everybody was like, Netflix is not going to last. Everybody kept saying that. The Netflix was not going to last. Then all of a sudden they saw the success of Netflix. Then everybody else wanted to jump on the bandwagon. And it's so crazy now because like I personally got Hulu because I like watching the TV shows that I can't get when I'm at work. When I'm at work, come home like, okay, it's gonna be on Hulu the next day or a couple of days later. Fine, perfect. Now they got the Peacock. Now it's like, so I'm a big fan of Seth MacFarlane. And when I heard he was doing the TED series, I was like, shit, that's gonna be cool. I wanna see it. But guess where Ted is at? Ted is on Peacock. So it's like now, if I want to see Ted, I gotta download Peacock. And it's like, dude, it's just too much. It's just too much. We got prices going up all across America. We got people who literally, I'm not saying they can't afford them, but it's like when you're living in a time where you just gotta stretch your money as much as possible. You know, Netflix came out with it, make it where you can't share your services with other people no more if they're not like basically under the same, I guess, IP address or however they're doing it now. It's like people need to choose what they want to spend their money on. And even though it's really not that expensive for the most part, like maybe $20 a month, maybe at the most or something like that. But it's like, why am I buying a streaming service for something I'm not really watching? Because 9 times out of 10, most Americans right now in this country are working 2 or 3 jobs, killing themselves. So it's like they may be able to afford it, but it's really just a luxury that's really not needed. When I could just go get the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever. Like me personally, like I still buy Blu-rays. I still buy physical media. Like I said, I just brought the Exorcist 4K 50th anniversary. I'm gonna be buying the Crow 30th anniversary 4K special anniversary. And it's like it's just gonna get to the point where I'm just gonna be like, well, I'm gonna just buy the movies I want to watch the movies I want to watch, and fuck the streaming services. And I really feel like for most people, that's really going to become a mainstay for a lot of people who are like, look, I don't have time to watch the shit anyway. I don't have time to watch these streaming services. So why not just go ahead, buy what I can buy the shit that I like, buy the shit that I know that I like, and just watch that and just say the hell with the streaming services because the streaming services are so convoluted. It's legions of them everywhere. Now, I purposely use that name. I on purposely use that name Legion because that's how I feel about these goddamn streaming services right now. Like I look at it like how is a song out that I love. Olivia Rodrigo has a song called Vampire. That's how I feel about these streaming services. It's like they're literally just nothing but bloodsuckers. And it's like I get it, you know. At the end of the day, it's like you know what you're getting, but it's like for years they mocked cable, they joked cable, and then like so everybody broke themselves apart. But now they're trying to come up with bundles to put everything back together again. So it's like, then what was the point of knocking cable all those years if you're just going to break apart just to start bundling packages to try to get people to come back? It really makes no sense, and you're actually costing Americans more money than what they did when they had cable in the first place anyway. Like you're really just finding a way to screw the American people over. So, you know, this whole thing with these streaming services, these whole things with these woke Hollywood agendas, or people quote unquote saying woke Hollywood agendas, I personally just feel like it's people just trying to be more inclusive. I just feel like the writing needs to be better. And that's just like anything, because like I said, the same argument I would make about the Marvels when I saw the Marvels was the same argument I made about Thor 2. I felt like Thor 2 was trash. Whether it was a man who wrote it or it was a woman who wrote it, if it was a black director or a white director, if the movie's no good, the movie's no good. And I just feel like they just need better story, they need better writing. But I also feel like people aren't going to the movies because you have more luxury at home. It's a lot of crime going on out here. People don't want to go to the movies. People don't want to go and be irritated by the assholes at the movie theater who make the experience bad for everybody. Like literally in the local town I live in, I think it was about a month ago, there was like somebody had fired shots in one of the movie theaters. It's like, who wants to go out knowing I could just stay in my fucking house and just chill and relax? And it's not even sports. You look at you look at you look at sports, you look at movies, all the fan all the fan interactions are down a bit because that's what people are starting to realize. Like I can watch my Orioles at home. I can watch my Buffalo Bills at home. I can watch the Ravens at home. I don't need to be out and about with a bunch of drunk motherfuckers, a bunch of stupid idiots Like, and it's funny because I'm starting to notice as I gotten older, I don't want to say I hate people more, but I'm starting to realize how much I don't like people, and I feel like people are irritating. And when you get the wrong group of people around, it makes the experience even more worse. When I can just stay at home and chill, it's just one of them things where I can stay at home, maybe wait a month or two. If the movie really don't do well, like I said, I'll be able to stream it in a month. So what's the point? I'll get it on Blu-ray or whatever. Like I have Scott Pilgrim versus the World on 4K. I got the movies set up. The movies I really like, I just go ahead and buy it on physical media. When I come in from work and I'm tired, pop that bitch on and just fall asleep. It's like one of them things where it's like you're unnecessarily taking money from people, I feel like, in a lot of ways. Then it's like you want to cry, well, nobody's going to the movies. Why? Why the fuck go to the movies? And don't get it twisted because you know me, I am a action movie, sci-fi movie junkie. If it's sci-fi, if it's action, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be there. When Deadpool and Wolverine come out in July, we'll be there. When Godzilla come out, we'll be there. When the new Crow come out, we'll be there. Definitely will be there. I'll probably be there next week when Kung Fu Panda. I'll probably be there next Sunday on my day off when Kung Fu Panda come out. 10 times out of 10, I will be there. But it's like I like what I like. People know what they like, and I think that's what people were doing. It's not like the time where it's like, oh well, it's just a week where it's just movies out. Let's go see it. I think those days are over. I think the days of we're gonna drop anything and anybody will go see it is over. Cause I know when I was in my early 20s, that's what I used to do. Like it seemed like once a week I felt like I had to go to the movies whether the movie was good or not. Like I've gone to movies and just fallen asleep on movies just for the fact to be like, well, I'm just go to the movies this week. I think that day for me is over, and I think that day for a lot of Americans is over, especially now with the fact you got everything that's going on in the world. You got like I said, you got people who ruin movie experiences for people because like I'm not even gonna lie, like I hate to sound like the old man in the room, but I'll go to the earliest showing possible first because the price is typically cheaper, but also I know young people are not going to be there. And, like I do not like young kids ruin my experience at the movies or anywhere I go. Like typically, if I know a lot of young people going to be there, I don't go. Is they're fucking irritating to get on my fucking nerves. But it is what it is. For everybody has a different reason why they're not really going to the movies right now. For me, it's just if the movie isn't something I'm like pumped for, I'm just not gonna go see it. Well, I said back in the day, I would just go to the movies for anything. Just back in the day, I would go to the movies just to go to the movies, and I don't even feel like that no more. Like nowadays, I just feel like if it's not something I'm really pumped about going to see, then I'll just wait for it to come on streaming or whatever. It's just not really a big thing no more. And I think a lot of times I think they're blaming it like I think certain people are pushing an agenda to blame it on what they call woke Hollywood. I really don't think it's that. I just think there's not a lot of good stories out there right now being told. Dune 2 came out this week. I'm sorry, Dune 2. I am a big Dune fan. And I said earlier, I'm a big sci-fi fan. I love the original Dune. They had, what's the name? He had the hard name to pronounce, but he was in Dune. He was in The Hidden. He had this 80s sci-fi kind of movie tone about him. Damn, it was so many people in the first one. Sting was in the first one. The guy who did the voice of Chucky was in the first one. Damn, Professor X was in the first one. So there was, and I'm sorry, I'm not giving people names because I just don't know their names offhand right now when I'm shooting this video. And it's messed up because as soon as I get done, I'm like, damn, yeah. Yeah, Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart was in the first one. Like I said, Sting was in the first one. Um, oh God, Brad Dorff was in the first one. Kyle McLaughlin, I think that's his name. Kyle McLaughlin was in the first one. because he was also in the Hidden, and he was also in, I think it was I Come in Peace, but they changed the name of it. I think no, was he in that? No, he wasn't in that. I'm sorry, I take that back. He was not in that, but he was in the Hidden, and he was in the Dune, and he was in the original Dune. And like I said, I love the original Dune. I'm going to see Dune 2. I've heard people say it's a little bit slow, but the first Dune, the original Dune that came out, they tried to compact everything in like one story. In fact, it's two versions because it's hard to find the original director's cut version because I think the original director's cut version is like almost 3.5 hours. But you can find like the 2.5 hour version real easy, but it's hard to find like the almost 3.5 hour version. Like if you can find that one, like I say watch it. I liked it, but I'm a sci-fi fan, so I love Dune. I love the original Dune, and I'm going to check out Dune 2. And it killed this weekend because, like I said, at the end of the day, good writing and good directing wins out. I really don't think people really don't care like whether the person is black or whether it's white, as long as the story is good. If your story isn't good or if it's cheesy, I just think nowadays with so many options out there, I just think people aren't really accepting that anymore. Because I'm not even gonna lie, I think of the list of some of the movies I went to go see back in the day. I honestly say I would not have gone to see those movies nowadays. But it was just because of the fact that I love going to the movies and I love movie theater popcorn. But like nowadays, some of the other movies I'd be like, nope, I was not wasting my time on them. But like I said, back then it was a different era, a different time. And I think they have to adjust for the fact, just like everybody else, this is a whole new era. It's a whole new time. I think the pandemic really changed things for people in the sense that they have a lot more options now. And with all these streaming services, why am I going out? I'm already paying for these streaming service. I'm literally gonna get the movie in maybe 1 month or two, especially if it doesn't really get a good rating. So why go out now when I already have so much to do and take care of? When if I wait a month or two, I can just stream it. You know? But like I said, that. Plus, like I said, I'm really interested in what they do with this new DVD. They call it, I think it's the cousin of the DVD. That's what they're calling it. With all this information they can put on there, let's see if they take advantage with it. Because to be honest, they really didn't take advantage with the Blu-ray like I felt like they should have. Because remember, Blu-ray can hold a lot more information than DVDs too. But they really didn't take advantage of it like they could, like they should have. In fact, for me, it worked out for me just because I'm an anime fan. So it worked out to my advantage from the anime perspective because you could get a lot more of your anime episodes on like one Blu-ray or things of that nature. But even to that point, like I feel like they still screwed the consumer over in a lot of ways. But yeah, we'll see what happens now. Like I said, I just feel like when they keep on talking about this wokeness or these woke movies, I feel like they're just using it as an excuse for why their movies ain't selling. Because some of these movies just ain't good. But like I said, if they had better writing, better directing, and I feel like honestly, like when it comes to the whole Marvel DC issue with these woke movies, you're just it's like your characters that people don't know, nobody's really going to see them anyway. And I hate to say it like that because I'm a Marvel comic book character. Like everybody keeps on talking about this new Fantastic Four. From my lips to this microphone to this video, I hate the fucking Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four was the first comic book I ever collected. I hate the fucking Fantastic Four. In fact, it used to be funny because I think it was called, they used to have what they used to have on Fantastic Four was like the number one comic or the number one adventures or something like that. And I remember after I bought that first book and read it, I was so unimpressed with the Fantastic Four that I don't think, unless it was like a crossover segment going on, I never bought a Fantastic Four comic ever again. And I've brought tons of X-Men, tons of Spider-Man, tons of Avengers. The only time I would buy a Fantastic Four comic after that first comic I brought sucked so bad was it was only if they was doing a crossover. That's how much I felt the Fantastic Four sucked. But they want to try to rehash them again. Honestly, I feel like the Fantastic Four just isn't. They're just not an interesting group. Like, think about it. Fox have tried to do them what 2 times. They did one, tried to do a reboot. They're just Fantastic Four is just not entertaining. They're just not an entertaining group. You got the stuck up ass scientists. You got privileged the privileged young hothead and Johnny Storm. You got Sue and you got the Thing. They just wasn't. It wasn't nothing interesting to me about the Fantastic Four. So that's another one. I guess are they going to blame that on wokeness if they don't succeed? It's we'll see. We'll see. But like I said, once again, this is Mr. Miserable. Like I said, this is Sunday, the first weekend of March, and once again, everybody be nice, be kind, and y'all just have a great day and take care of each other and look out for each other.